Hey, good morning, Mark.
Good morning, Rob. How are you today?
Well, I hope you are too. Quite a game on Saturday between the Wildcats and Stony Brook. You guys come out on top 30 to 27 in overtime. Just give me your takeaways on the game and what pleased you most about the way your team performed.
Yeah, well, obviously, I love the resiliency and the fight till the end effort that our guys have been doing all year for the most part. We challenged our guys this week. The previous games we kind of stalled a little bit, moving the ball in the first half and not getting the points when we had opportunity to do so. So we did score on our opening drive this week, so a little faster start, but then we seemed to go back into stall mode, I guess, for some reason, because we turned it over on downs. We had a field goal attempt that went wide right, so there was a few. We had a touchdown called back on a holding call in the first half. So, it ended up being 10-7 at halftime, and we had opportunities to maybe go in with a little more of an extended lead. But hey, credit the opponent and everybody that, is out there giving effort on their side of the ball as well. We controlled the heck out of the ball. I think it was roughly 20 minutes to 10 minutes in the first half, but it was still 10-7. They had that big explosive play. Their wideout number five had over 170 yards receiving, and he had their lone touchdown in the first half, and then he had a huge catch in the second half to get us another score on the board for those guys. And it went back and forth. There was a lot of lead changes. They took the lead at 14-10. We came back and jumped up on them, and as we know, it got tied at the end. Our defense had a heck of a stand at the end of the game to keep them out of the end zone after five came down with it and gave them an and goal situation. We stopped them and they had to settle for the field goal. A touchdown there would have made all the difference in the world. This time was, starting to run down in the fourth quarter. So we held them to the field goal, and that allowed us to get down and tie the ball game and then take it in overtime. We actually had an opportunity potentially to end it in regulation because after they tied it with that field goal, we had a really nice kickoff return that crossed the 50, but we couldn't get the added yardage to, have an opportunity to, try to maybe kick a game winner in regulation. So we went overtime and, we won the toss, able to go defense first, as what most people in the country do when you go overtime. Defense played really well. It was three and out. I think we held them to 1 yard in the three plays, and they got the field goal. And then thankfully, although we had a blunder on first down, Pat actually dropped and missed the snap. So it's like second and 21 or whatever, and we get it to where we need to, third and manageable. And then we have a really nice catch by Antonio Johnson in the end zone to save the win. So yeah, it took all four quarters and then some. But any way you can get a win, obviously you're going to take it and run with it. So I really like the way our guys, like I said, showed a lot of resilience with multiple lead changes on both sides of the ball, and we were able to come up on the winning edge of things. So always happy to get the win. Always happy to get a league win, and went 1-0 last week. Now the goal is to go 1-0 this week, as we say each and every week.
We've talked a lot on these calls about Luke Colella and the season that he's had, but he had kind of a quiet day on Saturday until the fourth quarter where he came up with two huge plays, and Pat made some nice throws to find him. Talk about those two plays that enabled you to come back and take the lead twice.
Yeah, he went up and got the one in the end zone and got his foot in and then landed in bounds. They did review it because they weren't sure if he controlled it to the ground, I think is really what they were looking for, more so than location of where it was, but he held on to it, so that was huge. And then a quick slant later in the game that he spun out of a tackle. They probably could have, knocked him down right around the five or slightly inside the five, but he did a good job catching, spinning a little bit, and then getting himself into the end zone. So he's been great. He's our leading receiver this year. We've talked to you guys about him before as far as the timing and the relationship that he and Pat have seemed to, get together in a short period of time. But they work at it. They stay out there in the post practice sometimes, and obviously they get together in pre practice. And as you heard them talk about before, during the summer months, Luke lives in Pittsburgh, Pat's in Ohio. As Pat was going home one time, he hit Luke up on the way home and said, "Hey, I'm going to swing in. We're going to throw it around a little bit before I go see my family." So they've been doing a great job. two great additions to our program. They've been having really nice seasons for us, and Luke's been a big part of our passing game for sure, along with the other guys.
And a guy we really haven't talked much about is Antonio, and like you said, made a great catch there at the end from the tight end spot. What does he provide to your offense?
Well, Antonio's a big target. He's a really good player. He may have, and I know some of the other guys won't want to hear me say this, but just as far as being a natural pass catcher and things of that nature, he may have the best hands on the team. He comes down with a lot of grabs that you're in practice and things of that nature where you're saying, holy cow, how did he grab that one? And he's a big body guy, and he's a big frame, and he kind of double caught that one in the end zone. It seemed like, oh no, he didn't get it, but then he grabbed it below his knees. He's got really big hands, he's got good size, and he's got really good pass catching radius and pass catching ability. So he's got great hands. We just found a way and put in some ways this past week to try to get him the ball a little more. And he had a few more targets, so he came down with a few more plays. And obviously, he came down with the play of the game in the overtime period.
Defensively, Shane Hartzell was honored this week. Everybody knows what kind of player he is. 10 tackles, 2.5 tackles for loss on Saturday. You've had some great linebackers at your place over the years. Where does Shane fit maybe in some of the guys that you've had?
Yeah, he fits right in there with all of them. He's a great student of the game. As far as being a natural linebacker, and what I mean by that is someone who can read the play, be in the right place all the time, slip a block, maybe get his hands on the block and then shed the block when he sees where the ball's going. Just natural linebacker type stuff. He's probably as good as any of them. We've had a couple of guys like Forrest that are just a little bigger, but Shane's probably a little better athlete. We've had some guys that are a little better athletically, like Bell, but Shane's maybe just a little bit better linebacker as a whole, those type of things. So as far as the linebackers that we've had, especially the ones recently, he's 230 pounds. He's not the tallest. So we've had some guys like Bell's over 6 foot, 6'1", same thing with Forrest. So he's a smidge under 6 foot, but he's got really big hands. And like I said, he just plays the position the way you like to see it played. He takes blocks on when he needs to. He'll slip blocks when he can. He'll chase things down to the sideline. He's just a real good instinctual type linebacker. So we'll see, how he does the remaining part of this year. And then he's going to try to, we'll have a pro day at some point down in the offseason and he'll give it a shot. So it's probably going to come down to, he's got a lot of good film. It's probably going to come down to how fast he can run, how fast he runs. And will someone take a shot on a guy like that who's, 5'11" and 5'8" as opposed to 6 foot, So we'll see how it goes. But he's a really good instinctual linebacker, plays a position the way you like to see it played.
Your team finishes with a Sacred Heart program that's independent school, but they are 8-3 record. Also, senior day for your team, and with the playoffs potentially looming for your team. Talk about the challenges that Sacred Heart presents, and then how big this game is for you, not only being senior day, but trying to enhance your playoff possibilities.
Yeah, they fly around. They fly to the football, watching them on offense, defense. They run the ball extremely well. They protect the football. I think they only have 3 interceptions on the year. On defense, they're flying to the ball. They gang tackle. On special teams, they get downfield. There's a couple guys covering kickoffs that are, 5 yards ahead of everybody else. So they're excited to get down there and, hit somebody. They're a good team. They're going to be a great challenge for us. Coach Nafri's been there a long time. He's got a great staff. He's had guys with him for a while. He knows the culture. He knows what he's trying to do up there. We have never played them, so we don't have a lot of familiarity with them. So, we're going to have to go out there. And like I say this each and every week, when we're into Tuesday's practice, let's focus on our execution and what we're trying to do with our game plan. And obviously, as you get closer to the game, you get a little more concerned with the opponent. But senior day, that's always big. That's always emotional. We have 6th-year guys, 5th-year guys, some, transfers that are in their final year of eligibility, and then obviously our 4th-year seniors. So it's going to be an emotional day from that perspective whenever you have a senior day. So we just want to go out there and try to put our best foot forward. And like I said earlier in this call, go 1-0 this week and, try to take on a really good opponent because you watch them on film and they fly around and they have about 140 plus guys on their roster. So they have a lot more depth than we do. So I'm sure that helps them prepare during the course of the year. And they played at Lehigh, who's up there, and they played at Montana. So they're not going to be worried about coming into Villanova Stadium being in those places. So, we're excited to have them come down. We're excited that we finished our CAA league regular season the right way. And now we have to try to get to 1-0 this week against a really good Sacred Heart team.
All right, Mark. Thanks for the time today, all season long, and hopefully.